Waiting for it. No, we're good? Okay. All right, I'll call this meeting to order. Board of Health. I wanted to start with public comment. Is there any general public comment at all? No? No? Okay. First item on the agenda today is discussion, decision, review of Connor Knapp cease and desist letter and response. Connor, were you, have you read the letter? Have you seen the letter?
I have read the letter, yep, and I just wanted to clarify that I'm recording this since my attorney is not able to be present.
Okay. Just a second. Oh, one of those. Okay. There you go. Okay, you have read the letter. Okay. Did you have any comments on the record? And I'm happy to read it into record once again.
Oh, nothing on that. No, I have a lot of comments on a lot of other stuff, but nothing about the letter, no.
Okay. I'm going to read the letter into record one more time, just so we all have it. I believe everyone up here has a copy, and it is posted online.
And I'm sorry, I did not receive a hard copy. I received the email, but I have not yet received the physical copy.
Okay. Are you in Washington, or are you here locally?
I'm in Washington as now.
Okay, a physical copy was left at your Duck Creek property. It was left there by our sanitarian and a deputy. I will read this letter into the record and just again one more time, and then you can make some more comments. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dear Rick and Connor Knapp, a survey was filed with the Broadwater County Clerk and Recorder on February 11th, 2022, creating the above referenced property. Tract 4A was created exclusively for agricultural purposes and therefore was exempt from subdivision review. In accordance with Montana Code Annotated, MCA 76-3-211, a change in use for anything other than agricultural purposes subjects a division of land that received an exemption to subdivision review under the Montana Subdivision and Platting Act. A building was constructed on the property in 2023, with sewer pipe observed exiting the building and a well was drilled November 10th, 2023, per the GWIC log 329738. Buildings requiring water and/or sewer facilities are prohibited on agricultural exempt parcels. In 2023, the Broadwater County Planner, as well as the Broadwater County Sanitarian, had multiple conversations with Connor explaining the process for removing an agricultural exemption. It has now come to our attention that plumbing is being done and a septic tank is being installed. Per Broadwater County wastewater regulations, Section 3.555, it is a violation to construct an on-site wastewater treatment system that will violate any law or regulation governing water pollution or wastewater treatment and disposal. Under Section 3.6, it is also a violation to construct an on-site wastewater treatment system without a valid permit issued. Under authority granted by statute, MCA 50-2-116-1H, you are hereby ordered to cease any construction on the property immediately. An application for subdivision review must be submitted to the Broadwater County Planning Department, and sanitary restrictions must be lifted by the Department of Environmental Quality prior to commencing the construction. Failure to comply with this order may subject you to legal action, with each day of violation constituting a separate offense. You are hereby required to cease the use of the septic system immediately and remove any on-site wastewater improvements from the ground by June 21st, 2024. You are also hereby required to contact the Broadwater County Community Development and Planning Office by June 21st, 2024 to schedule a subdivision pre-application meeting to begin the process of lifting the agricultural covenant from your property. Sincerely, Lindsay Rickmeyer, Chairperson, Broadwater County Board of Health. What are your thoughts, Connor? I'd like to hear from you if you have some comments.
Yeah, so this is an agricultural piece, and I'm a little confused because I've looked all over for a permit for the well. There's nothing on the county website about that. There is nothing that needs to pull for the well. I can drive through the Winston Flats, the Spokane Hills area, the Helena Valley, and see wells that have been punched for stock tanks on agricultural land that have power installed to run a pump to fill those stock tanks. And for an agricultural tract, I'm not sure how you would plan to run it under agricultural, whether orchard, whether livestock, whether running a pivot, anything along those lines without having a water source or power needed. Along the Towns and Valley, I can literally look at thousands of acres that have a running irrigation pivot that both have power and water on them for agricultural uses, whether that be from a water right from a creek or from a well punched. So I'm just curious why this property is exempt from that rule that other people are getting a chance to do on their own property. And not only that, but this lower piece does have water rights, and my 114 acres across the road does have water rights. Legally, I can pull water from that creek, legally. During years of drought, I cannot do that. So a well is needed for agricultural purposes during drought years. And this is not a made up or fabricated example. Rob Boswell across the road has had his pivot turned off multiple times during drought years because he sits lower on the water right than people who have a senior right to him. Plymouths are primary at the top of the food chain. That they get to feed themselves first before anybody else gets a chance during drought years. So in an agricultural tract, I don't see how well would be anywhere near, shape, or form breaking the rules for agricultural purposes. I plan to expand my orchard even more. I have 70 fruit trees down there going now, and I would like to expand it to have 200 more. All those, I would really, really like to have water available for, longevity purposes and extremely drought seasons, which Montana experiences almost yearly, it seems like. Those are kind of a couple of comments I have right now, but I'll let you, chew those over before I go any further.
Okay. On the well log, it says it's a domestic well that you use, that you punched. But you're saying you're using it for agricultural purposes.
I would be drinking out of it, absolutely, 100%. I don't have any other water source on my property, so I'd be filling my gallons of water to drink. But it would be for agricultural purposes as well, 100%.
Okay. Is that something, Megan? Sorry, I'm gonna ask you. Yeah.
And is Megan Bullock there by chance?
Yes, she is. Oh, sorry. Hang on.
Just maybe ask her. I guess is it clear to Mr. Knapp that the septic system and the building foundation issues are the issues we're talking about, not a livestock well? I don't know if maybe Megan wants to address that in better detail.
Connor, can you hear Corey? Okay, that's our county attorney Corey Swanson talking right now. Could you hear what he said?
Yeah, that's totally fine. And the thing was, I was going to pour a foundation in that building regardless. And I wasn't going to pour a solid slab foundation, a monolithic slab, without putting plumbing in there in case somewhere down the line I would like to, eventually renovate that building to living space. As of now, you guys have made it very clear the steps to go through to get that out of that agricultural easement to do that. I'm very aware of that. There's no ands if buts about it. So, clear as can be.
Okay, can you... go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Go for it.
I think the next step in the process, if you say you're clear on all that, and regardless of the well, sorry, Megan, would be to schedule that meeting with Nicole, to get that scheduled immediately.
What meeting for what? I'm sorry.
It would be, excuse me, it would be a meeting with the planning department so you can start the subdivision review process.
I don't want to do that. I want to keep it in agriculture. I'm not developing it for that at this time. I just want it to be left as an agricultural building. I'm not fighting this anymore. That's clear as day. I'm done fighting this. The only thing I want is I would like my address, please, to that building, because I guess you guys left a note there. I have I'm back there once a month at most. You know, I don't have an address. I've applied for that. I paid the money out of the pocket for the entrance to be rebuilt with a culvert per Mrs. Is it Mrs. Brown, Nicole Brown? Is that her name?
Yes, correct.
Mrs. Brown, I've done exactly that, and I was still denied an address. So, because, you know, she's assuming I'm doing something I have yet to do. So, and I would not like it to take it at agriculture, and I would like to leave it as that, please.
Okay, does any thoughts from anybody? JJ, you have any thoughts?
So is there a septic tank currently in the ground?
No, there's nothing in the ground. That building is full of parts from my grandparents' ranch, from our blue cabin that got sold off, and it's full of farming equipment, and my grandparents, basically like sentimental stuff from my grandparents. And everything was hidden on the the right side of the building, so nothing could be seen from the road.
There was a septic tank seen on the property, so did you remove that then?
No, that is still there, but I'm curious, and that's kind of the one other thing I'd like to discuss is, I have a feeling I know who turned me in, but I would really like to see, you know, some clarity on who that was, because all that stuff was stashed, except along with generators, stuff, tools, everything on the right side of the building, so anybody on the public road would not be able to see that. So whoever was the one that turned me in obviously had to step foot on my property enough to be able to come down and look underneath that wing, which is a trespass in my eyes, 100%.
Okay, so I don't know that we can really speak to who gave us information. I don't think that's, yeah, no, that's not something we can discuss with you, sorry.
Madam Chairman.
Yes, please.
This is Dwight Thompson, a board member. So, sir, the question was asked about the septic tank. Did you move it, or where is it?
No, it's still in storage. It's all there. Everything is there.
Okay. So it's not in the ground.
No, sir. There is absolutely not a single piece of piping in the ground.
Okay. I guess from here, I will refer to our legal team real quick, what they would like to see happen next steps.
Can I ask something, please?
Yeah, just go ahead.
I talked to Mrs. Bullitt a long time ago. I don't know if she remembers or not, but I don't care if there's ever water inside that building. I truly don't. I have 4 frost freezes outside that I would really like to be able to hook up to drip irrigation for my orchards. I talked to Ms. Bullock previously, and she was saying, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but exterior piping for exterior uses would be allowed for agricultural purposes, but nothing on the inside. And the only thing I ask for now is just the use of those 4 frost freezes. I don't care if I ever get water on the inside. That doesn't matter to me now. I just want my frost freezes to work for my irrigation.
Megan is here and she can speak to that. Megan, if you have thoughts on that.
Connor, this is Megan. I talked to you back in December, I believe it was, and you did ask about the frost-free hydrants. But if you recall, I told you you would need to talk to the county attorney. And I also told you I doubted that you would be given that approval to use the water. I've been out to the site. I've seen the sewer pipes exiting the building. It's very clear in the law that no structure requiring water or sewer facilities may be erected on an Ag Covenant property. So the fact that there's sewer pipe, I don't know where it's going to. Does it just stop in the ground, or?
I can't. I'm having a hard time hearing you, ma'am.
Oh,
Is there a microphone up there? There is, right?
You may have your paperwork in a little box.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Maybe
okay,
try-
what part did you miss?
There's something about the exterior piping, something along the lines of that.
Yes, so I talked to you back in December. You asked about the hydrants, and I advised you to talk to the county attorney for permission. And I also advised you that I thought it was unlikely you would get permission for that. I also have been out to the site, and I can see the sewer pipe exiting the building. And it's very clear in the law that no structure requiring water or sewer facilities may be erected on an Egg Covenant property. So it's not
Okay, so
the well watering your trees is not so much the issue as the structure with the sewer pipe exiting it.
but the sewer pipe doesn't go anywhere. It's all in the foundation in case 10 years down the road I want to take it out of the ag restriction. I wasn't
guess,
going to pour a foundation. I wasn't going to pour a whole monolithic slab and then 10 years down the road rip it out. That's a common practice in construction, is to plumb stuff years before anything would ever be done with it. And I understand if there's a misguidance on that, but I mean, I was not going to pour an entire slab without doing just prior work to that.
I guess the only thing I'd have to say is it's a common practice also to get a permit.
A permit for,
Anytime you're supposed to have a permit prior to construction.
what construction, a slab?
For your building that you have sewer pipe exiting.
Okay, I wasn't aware that just to plumb it you would need a permit ahead of time without it going live sewer.
Connor, I think you can acknowledge that it gives the appearance of moving forward to do more with that building and property.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine if it appears that way. That's totally fine, and I'm not asking to go any further with it. I'm just asking for my frost trees to work and then also my address.
Okay, I think, what would you, sorry, Corey,
Yeah.
what are you guys thinking?
So first of all, the purpose of today's meeting, as I understand it.
Thank you.
Oh, you don't think you can hear me? Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
thank you.
As I understand today's meeting, the purpose is, first of all, to confirm Mr. Knapp has received the notification from the board, which he has. And secondly, the purpose of that letter and the meeting is it's a cease and desist order. So the land was divided under the agricultural exemption. The requirement for that division is that land be used solely for agricultural purposes. The specific prohibited conduct is a structure that is requiring sewer and water. That means if you're putting sewer, for humans, okay, if you're putting a sewer system in, that's a violation of the permitted uses of that land. Just stepping back from big picture, the whole point of that requirement is so that people don't use the ag exemption as a way to evade the subdivision and platting act. Because it's really easy to go, yeah, it's going to be for agriculture, and then build a building, sewer, over the course of time, you got a whole little colony there. And that's, the purpose of the division is specifically for agricultural use only. In order for a person who's done that division to then go into installing the sewer or making buildings that are going to be human habitation, then you have to go back and undo the Ag Covenant and apply through the Subdivision and Platting Act if you want to maintain that division of land for that purpose. So that's the issue. The issue is at this point, the construction you've done, as I understand it, with the sewer piping in, is basically the beginning of, it is a violation, but it's also what appears to be the beginning of the process to fully to get to the point where you've got a human habitation with the septic system. So we're not going to solve all that today. My recommendation is, number one, Mr. Knapp confirm whether he plans to follow the order from the board to cease and desist further construction of any kind. until he can go back and actually do the planning process the way it should be done. Secondly, I think it makes sense for probably Megan, maybe somebody else, to actually do an inspection on the land. So I'd request Mr. Knapp's permission to do that. If he doesn't want to give permission, we're going to research ways that we can get a court order to enter the land to do that. I just think the county needs to be able to do that to know what we're actually dealing with. It could be we're dealing with much less than we think we are, and this can be a lot simpler, or it could be we're dealing with a lot more. So that's my recommendation on how to go forward. And I understand you have an attorney who can't be here today. Who is your attorney, sir?
So his name is Chris Walker out of Silverman Law in Helena.
Okay. So do you want my office to correspond with him? What do you want to do? Sometimes that costs you money every time, so I don't want to do that unless he's on the case working with you.
Yeah, no, I'll just leave it at this. I will totally disregard basically any further construction on that place. I will not use it for any inhabitants, anything along those lines. There will be no further construction, and it will simply be used for agricultural purposes. No ands if buts about it. It will stay exactly like that.
Okay. And then our next thing is we got to figure out what's next. And it's either confirm that there's nothing installed in the property that is a violation of it, or if there is a violation, I think what the county has suggested to you is that we go ahead and go through the subdivision planning process so you're not in violation. And so I think that's, our goal is not that to have you on a permanent, this land's in violation status. It's to work with you to get you out of violation into compliance. So I think the question is, how do we go forward? Do you want to add anything to that, Megan or Nicole, that give me better guidance than what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Connor, this is Nicole Brown. We spoke on the phone. County planner. So, Corey, to answer your question, the best way to move forward, I would say, would be for Connor to request a pre-application meeting. And while I understand he is not in state, I'd be happy to have that pre-application meeting via phone, Zoom, whatever way suits him, to start the subdivision process. But it sounds like he's not interested in pursuing that. So I guess what you're left with is the infrastructure that's already been installed.
I just want to keep it as an agricultural building, and that's it. I'm not doing anything further. You guys have made your point. There is absolutely no septic in the ground. That's all that is inside in storage. So there's nothing installed in the ground. I don't want to do anything further. That is all. I will remove everything off the property as you wish, and that's it. I'm done with it. So that's plain and clear. Like, I don't need to hear any more. You guys have done a great job of being clear. That's totally fine. That property will solely be used for agricultural purposes, no further.
Corey, are you wanting to still go on and do an inspection?
Yeah, I would still request the appropriate person from the county, and I'm guessing it's Megan, but you tell me otherwise. But it might make sense that we do that at a time when Mr. Knapp can be present.
Yeah.
So we set a date in the future where we can do I don't know what you call it, inspection, I guess. Site visit. Does that work for you? I understand you're not here and you're back and forth this summer, but are you going to be here sometime in the month of July when someone from the county could meet with you and do a site visit?
That's 100% okay.
Okay.
100% okay.
All right. And I think then we're going to know if everything can just be paused where it is and no problem, or if we have to figure out something else to unwind or to do something administratively to put you back in compliance. So that's our goal. Our goal is that this is not hanging over our head as like a forever point of friction going forward. We'd like to get it resolved.
Connor, this is Lindsay again. Would you like you have Megan's information, correct?
Megan Bullock?
Yes.
Is that, I'm sorry, is that who you're referencing?
Yes, correct. You have Ms. Bullock's information?
Yep.
Okay. I think it would be appropriate for him to reach out and set up a time with Megan to do a site visit. Does that sound good for when you will be here next, or when you are able, I guess? Would we like to?
Yes, that's totally fine.
Okay.
And I would have to check with my partner, but she can go around and walk the whole entire building or everything when we're not there, but I'd have to get that clarified by my partner, so.
Okay. I mean, I think are we preferring to do that with someone, with him here, with him present?
Yes, I'll need to see the inside of that building.
Yeah, okay, because she wants to see the inside of the building, so she'd like to do it when you are available and here next.
Okay.
Do you know when that would be by any chance?
I don't, it'd probably be within the next month or so.
Okay.
Commissioner Rootmeyer, may I?
Yes.
Would it be fair, Connor, this is Debbie Randolph, to say within the next 45 days you can make that visit with Megan happen?
Yeah, I'd say that's fine, yep.
Thank you. I was just going to look at a calendar.
So, August 15th, kind of.
All right. I think we would be fine with that if that's the route you want to go. Is the board?
Yeah, I just want to keep it in an agricultural tract. I don't want to go any further. I just want to keep it that and have my frost-free hydrants, and that's it.
Okay. Corey, does he need to do anything different as far as the frost-free hydrants go? Does he need to-
I'm gonna have to look into it. I
Okay.
couldn't say off the top of my head.
Okay. And then as far as addressing goes, he will not receive an address? Okay, I'm sorry. Put you on the spot.
That's okay. Nicole Brown again, I guess that would be up for discussion. And I would like to, again, defer to legal. If assigning an address, you know, my concern previously was given an address, then the well could be connected to power, which means then you have water flowing. If you have water flowing, then you can have a well, you can't have a wastewater system, but then where does the water flow to? So I think, I don't have an answer right now. I think I would need to meet with our county attorney's office to determine whether or not that can be assigned.
Okay, thank you. All right, Connor, how does that sound to you? 45 days, you'll contact Megan, and they'll do a site visit with you present.
Yes, that sounds good. I don't see why that would be a problem. Yep.
Okay. All right, and I think, do you have any other concerns or questions for us?
Man, I got a whole list. So, that's talking with the electrician before, there was ways around it, and we've already installed secondary power to that building for the well. That was something that's already been done just to power that well, so I want that clear. I don't want to have any hidden agendas around there. That's something we've already done for my frost-freeze hydrants. So the address wasn't such a big deal. I just wanted it to be able to receive shipments for my trees and stuff to that property. The well is already going, so I don't know what basically the problem is there. That was already hooked up without an issue. I just want to be able to run my frost freeze hydrants without being frowned upon, or basically irrigating my property without being frowned upon for doing that.
So my thought is right now, since we were really focused on making sure for this meeting in particular that you got the cease and desist letter and just kind of what we needed to do from that point, maybe you could, as when you do the site visit, maybe these are some questions you could broach at that time as they do the site visit, and you guys could make some decisions or get some information and talk about that moving forward.
Yeah, that's totally fine. When I talked to my attorney previously, when I hired him, nothing of this was ever an issue. The frost freeze, for irrigation purposes, the wells, anything in that at all was ever an issue. The septic was an issue, and I was very aware of that. He made me very, very clear of that.
Okay.
I'm not even going to chance that. So he told me exactly what the repercussions were. That's totally fine. If I want to use that building for storage, that's probably all I'm going to be using it for now, and my orchard. So that's totally fine. If I can probably get permission from my partner, you guys can probably go out there right now and look inside of it. But right now those frost trees are working and the well's working. I just want to be doing it with permission. That's all I'm asking.
Okay.
So I'm not going to hide anything. I'm not going to beat around the bush. There is previously plumbing in the foundation, and that is not going to be happening. And you guys have made that extremely clear that there is no septic in the ground whatsoever. If I can get permission from my partner, you can literally go slide that front door open, and that septic tank, all the parts, drain field, the leak, all the piping, the junction box, everything will be stored right there in the center, visible for you guys to see.
Okay. Corey, did you have something?
I was just, are there multiple wells? I was under the impression there was a stock well, or maybe it was a domestic well, I wasn't sure. There's an existing stock water right out of Duck Creek, correct? Okay, and that's,
And an irrigation.
and a surface water right out of Duck Creek. Okay, so that, we're not talking about those, correct? This is just a new well that was done as an exempt well for domestic. Is that the same one that you can use for domestic lawn, garden, livestock, 10 acre feet, 35 gallons flow rate?
This well is the one that was drilled in November,
Okay,
so that's.
November of last year? Okay,
And it was that for domestic.
okay. I was under the wrong impression. I thought that the stock water right out of Duck Creek was a stock well, but it's a surface water right. Got it. Okay.
I'm sorry, sir, what was that?
I just was confused about I thought that the stock water right out of Duck Creek was a well, but it's not a well. It's a surface water right out of the stream.
Yeah, you have to pump it out of there. That's a whole different road. My water right is a whole different road to go down. You're only allowed. They have AU units, animal units that are allowed down there. So you can only have so many horses, so many cattle, so many sheep, etc. And it's all labeled on my water right for that. And same with the upper ground.
Okay.
Okay.
But no, sir. There's no well from the creek itself.
Okay.
It's just surface rights, the way you just said.
Okay.
Do any other members of the board have any comments?
Madam Chair, this is JJ. So have you filed a water right on the well yet?
I have not. No.
And when you file a water right on the well, what are you going to file for? Because the well log says domestic currently.
I thought I haven't filed for it yet.
Right, but when you put a well to use, you're supposed to file for a water right. So I assume you're going to file for a water right. So
No, I haven't. Go ahead.
so I was just asking what type of water right you were going to file for your exempt well.
Probably livestock, honestly, or ag.
Okay.
Is that what I have to do? I mean, I plan to drink right out of it, but I don't plan on using it for a facility.
Okay. Thanks.
Is that how you would label it for ag or livestock?
Well, I think some of the confusion is the well logs currently says domestic. So the question was if you'd filed the water right. You said you hadn't, but if you file a water right, then yes, you'd have to file for livestock, anything but domestic.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay.
I have a question,
Oh,
Madam Chair.
sorry.
My question for Nicole, I'm a little confused. As far as, the background is, if you want to put a well on, you get the well drilled, you want to have power to run the pump. But but you can't get power until you have an address. Is that correct? So he's got his well's running, but he doesn't have an address. That doesn't make sense to me.
It is typical that the power company will not make that connection. They won't bring power to the property until there's an address. So I'm not sure how he was able to get power to the well without an address.
Okay.
That might be.
Yeah, we did it. We hooked up and wired that shop.
Okay.
Yeah, typically the power company will not.
Yeah, hook
Turn it
power.
on, if
That's
you will.
that was my understanding. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah, that's been my understanding this whole time as
Okay.
well.
Thanks.
Anything else from anybody? Okay. All right, Connor, I think if you can get in touch with Megan Bullock to set up a time, whether you and your partner are agreed that she can go on the premises and enter the building, I will let you work that out with her. But it just needs to be done by August 15th. I think we ballparked about 45 days.
Yeah, I'd like to think that she could go out there tomorrow once they get permission and see and roll up. What you're exactly going to find is half of it's framed in around the basically the previous plumbing, so nothing gets smashed from running equipment in there. And then you're going to see previously where it was wired before we got in this debacle of lights and that. And that is what you're going to find. And then all my septic supplies. And then you're going to see a tractor on the left side and an old Ford pickup on the right side.
Okay.
So I have no problem telling you right up front what's inside or even hiding anything that we've done.
Okay. Hold on real quick. There's a couple more comments. Megan, go ahead.
Connor, this is Megan. I just want to give you enough notice, but I'm going to want those sewer lines exposed when I go out to take a look, just to be able to see if they're connected to anything or if they're just capped.
Oh, the ones in the very, very back?
Right, where the cleanouts are, there's 2 of them.
Yep, those, well, so you guys can dig down, but please be careful, there's power there.
No,
There's a
I'm-
power line.
I'm not going to do the digging. I want you to have it exposed when I go to look.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So like the pipes in the back are still exposed. They're not buried at all.
Okay?
Is that what you're asking? Or all the way down to the T's, is that what you're asking?
I want you to expose it so I can see where they're going.
Yep.
This is Deputy County Attorney Kaylin Miner. I just wanted to know, when Ms. Bullock does her site visit, Chairman Rick Meyer, will she be able to get information or get a visual on whether or not the well is feeding the house or where that well, where the well waters go to?
Yep, absolutely. So when they plumbed it, there's basically two different systems, the frost freeze and then the internal. The internal cannot be pressurized unless that whole building is insulated, because it would blow apart, it'd freeze during the winter. So the only thing that has running water right now are the frost freeze.
Okay. Commissioner Randolph, did you have?
Connor, I'm not that familiar with that area. Is your power provided by Northwestern or Vigilante?
Vigilante.
Thank you. That was my only question. Thank you.
And you know what? I think that back, Ms. Bullock, I think that is dug down to the T's, because we were trying to figure out how they plumbed that place. So I think we dug down. I think it's actually exposed right now, to be honest. So I think that's actually ready. If I can get permission for you to go out.
I've observed some fairly fresh digging out there, but could not see where it goes to. They seem to be covered still, so you'll probably have to expose them.
No, that's the secondary power. That's coming from the pole.
Okay, I'm interested in seeing where those cleanouts are going to, if you can just make sure they're exposed before I go out.
Yeah, they should be exactly exposed, because the power runs right behind that. and they're exposed because we were trying to figure out, I wasn't present when they plumbed it, so I was trying to figure out where the stuff was so I wasn't breaking anything. It should be right there in the very back, right along where we put the power in.
Okay.
All right, well, Connor, you've got, till August 15th. You can take some time. Don't have to rush it. If you're here, that might be really helpful. Then you can walk the property again with Mrs. Bullock and kind of go over everything with her. But I will leave that up to you to work out with her. And you said you do have her contact information.
Yeah, yep, I have it.
Okay. All right. Is there any other comments? Okay. I don't think we need a motion for anything. I think we're good. All right, Connor, thank you for calling in. Appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, appreciate it. Let me just get all this stuff off the table and just be totally transparent. That's all I want.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Before we adjourn, we have on the schedule the next meeting for July 15th at 2 p.m. Is that a possibility for you? I think there's some things we need to address regarding septic permits, a lot of them that are...
You want me to give a real quick
Yeah,
summary?
Megan will give a quick comment on it, but we can't do anything about it today. We'll have to push it to the next meeting.
So I understood years ago the health board had approved a stamp of some sort for stamping previous septic. I don't know if any of you were on the board at that time. There are probably in excess of 300 permits that were not properly signed off by at least the last two. There's a lot of permits that are just open. And so I'm hoping to come to the board and ask for permission on some of them that I can see that maybe have as-builds or pictures, that we just go ahead and stamp them so we can get them scanned and in the file. The problem is that people, like if they go to sell their house or refinance, we don't have a file for them showing their system was approved. So I will at the next meeting. Hopefully we can start weeding through them. Daylene and I go through and just have a stack that either we can do it that way, or if the board maybe would entertain giving me permission just to go through each file and see if it's something that we can approve. So we can talk about it further next meeting.
Thank you. July 15th, 2 p.m. Sound good?
That works for me.
Okay. JJ, I know you're all over the place.
I think I can just make that work.
Okay. And I will relay that to Tiffany as well. All right, thank you. Anything else from anybody? Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thanks all.